Welcome. I'm Tracy Smith, and this is Here Comes the Sun, a closer look at some of the people, places, and things we bring you every weekend on Sunday morning. Arnold Schwarzenegger has been an A-lister and a governor, but one of his lesser-known roles recently has been a climate activist around the world. For the past 8 years, he's been holding the Austrian World Summit, a gathering with a goal to reduce the impact of climate change. Except he hates the phrase climate change.
As long as they keep talking about global climate change, they're not going to go anywhere, because no one gives a about that. So my thing is, let's go and rephrase this and communicate differently about it and really tell people, we're talking about pollution. Pollution creates climate change, and pollution kills.
Later in the show, we find out, is Arnold a phone call guy or a FaceTime guy? One of your sons ratted you out about not having a smartphone. You don't have a smartphone?
I don't have a phone, but why would I have a phone? I have an iPad.
And that does everything?
Well,
don't you want to
FaceTime? I don't want to take a phone call and not see the people's face.
You don't like just talking on the phone?
No. I want to see them on the FaceTime.
Plus, Nancy Giles goes behind the scenes of CBS's hit sitcom Ghosts and learns how the cast formed its supernatural bond.
The show is shot in Montreal, not LA. During COVID, the actors, like the ghosts, couldn't leave.
Imagine going to your office every single day, and then when you go home, the only people you hang out with are the people you work with.
Yeah. Oh my God, that's
It's
hilarious.
accentuated both the sense of claustrophobia and the sense of family, which are both very useful for the show.
Oh, look at that. I use my female brain to exercise my rights, and I don't feel the vapors coming on at all. Wait, hold on. No, I'm good.
That's all coming up right here on Here Comes the Sun. Bold characters on the big screen have been Arnold Schwarzenegger's bread and butter. So I sat down with him to see how that translates to his newest adventure, a TV series. Venice Beach, California has a kind of timelessness, from the sandy shoreline to Gold's Gym, where you can see heroes past and very much present. On any given day, the gym's most famous patron, Arnold Schwarzenegger, will be here, pumping up. Why come here? I'm sure you have a nice home gym.
I have a nice home gym. How did you know? I like working out with people.
Around here, he's quick to give pointers to anyone who looks like they need help. Anyone.
You take the lower bar. Yeah, perfect.
Better?
Okay, now let it all the way up, and now put it all the way down. Good. Okay, give me 10 like this.
As an athlete and a coach, Arnold, as he's often addressed, is pretty impressive. So we just saw you working out. You don't look 75. Do you feel 75?
I would not know what that feels like. I feel very good, and I feel full of energy. But I think the most important thing is to keep active and to keep the mind active. So to me, life is about living, not existing. And his life has become something of a legend. He's the poor Austrian kid who conquered the sport of bodybuilding. The movie star who, with his 1986 marriage to Maria Shriver, became part of the Kennedy clan. The real estate mogul who was elected governor of California.
Congratulations, Governor Schwarzenegger.
Schwarzenegger's films were often box office gold and a reliable font of one-liners.
I'll be back. It's not a tumor. Hasta la vista, baby.
In 1994's True Lies, Schwarzenegger plays an undercover CIA agent with Jamie Lee Curtis as his unsuspecting wife.
Come on, baby.
It's the inspiration for his Netflix series, FUBAR, where he's again a CIA agent with family issues.
The CIA destroys relationships. I've been waiting for a decade and a half to win my wife back. Now, since I'm retired, what's going to stop us?
15-year-old divorce papers?
She doesn't love you anymore?
At an age when most people retire, Arnold Schwarzenegger is still an action hero. You're doing your first TV role ever in FUBAR. Why now?
This is the first TV series that I've done. It was a lot of work. I've never really worked that hard in my life. And because television is just so much faster. You do 10, 12 pages sometimes a day. But I loved it. I've never had more fun than doing this.
But he says he's had to work through a chapter in his personal life that was less than heroic. In 2011, Schwarzenegger admitted to an affair with his former housekeeper, Mildred Baena, with whom he had a son. The revelation shook his family and his public image. You had some things going on that especially women weren't too pleased with. Did you feel like you had to come back from that?
I was not that concerned about coming back from anything. I was more concerned about just making sure that everyone is okay in my family, because my kids were still young. So Maria and I, we really had to work on raising them together. And my wife did a fantastic job with that, and we worked really well together. And so we can be very proud of the job that we did under those circumstances.
And you work really well together now, it seems. What's your relationship like with Maria?
Well, she is, my best friend, and we talk pretty much every day. And, I respect her, and I think she's a wonderful lady.
He says his youngest son, Joseph Baena, is like him in more ways than one. Joseph is following in your bodybuilding steps too, right?
Well, every step. Joseph is into real estate, he's into acting, and he's into bodybuilding and all of those things. It's kind of like the apple doesn't fall far from the tree.
Do it. Do it now.
There's a docuseries that promises to be the most candid look yet at his past. But Arnold Schwarzenegger is also working on his legacy.
I call for change. Change is never easy, but this is an emergency. And this emergency demands action.
The ancient walls of Vienna's Hofburg Palace echoed with a familiar voice.
Build better, build cleaner, build now. Build, build, build. We can do it. As our motto here says, we have the power. Thank you
For the
very much,
past
all of you.
8
Thank
years,
you.
he's been holding the Austrian World Summit, a gathering with a goal to reduce the impact of climate change. Except he hates the phrase climate change.
As long as they keep talking about global climate change, they're not going to go anywhere, because no one gives a about that. So my thing is, let's go and rephrase this and communicate differently about it and really tell people. We're talking about pollution. Pollution creates climate change, and pollution kills.
Are you on a mission to save the world?
I'm on a mission to go and reduce greenhouse gases worldwide, because I'm into having a healthy body and a healthy earth. That's what I'm fighting for. That's my crusade.
But Vienna wasn't all about work. The men at this table are his hometown friends. He's known some of them since he was 6 years old.
So I bought them an iPhone, so we could talk every week.
Your elementary school classmates.
That's right, yeah. And we have the greatest time laughing about it, talking about the good old days and what we are doing now. And the funny thing is also, it's kind of like the health problems. Because when you get older, you talk more about that than when you were young. And so this is the kind of stuff that we end up talking a lot of times when we talk about health issues. It's funny, when you get to be 75. So this is all like hundreds of years old, all this stuff, yeah.
So beautiful. You can take the kid out of Austria, but you could sense that this Austrian native was happy to be back on his home turf. And the people on the street seem to be just as glad to see him.
Arnold!
Okay, hey, how are you?
Servus!
Good to see you. You're looking good, looking all pumped up.
This is Arnie.
Yes, that's Arnie.
Hi!
Hi, how are you?
He's been back to this part of the world many times. Schwarzenegger, whose father was a soldier under the Nazi regime, toured Auschwitz.
When you walk through a place like Auschwitz, you feel a tremendous weight.
And in a series of online videos, he's repeatedly denounced both the Nazis and hate in general.
How do we stop this from ever happening again? This is the old way of doing roads, cobblestone.
On our ride, the former governor pointed out some of the charms of old Vienna.
Right here. Just follow me.
He also showed us a new piece of art, a mural of himself that was, appropriately enough, larger than life. So there's got to be something special about having this here in your home country.
In Austria, I developed my dreams and the dreams of being a movie star. So in my days, I saw huge advertisements of, Clint Eastwood's movies and John Wayne movies. And I always said, oh, wouldn't it be wonderful to be like that, to be one of those guys? Now you roll the clock forward a few decades and then you look back and you say, there I am. My dream became a reality.
Arnold Schwarzenegger has said that most limits are illusions. Still, even with his boundless optimism and iron will, there are things even he can't do. Do you wish you could run for president?
No, I'm finished with that. I would have run if I would have been an American born in 2016, because it's the only thing that I can't do in America. I would never complain about it. America made everything that I have achieved possible. So I'm not going to take this one thing and say, oh, isn't it bad and isn't it sad that I can't do that? Forget about it.
Up next, an exclusive excerpt from my chat with Arnold Schwarzenegger. You can only see right here on CBS News Streaming. Stay with us.
There will be pain, there will be where you fall down, and there will be victories.
As promised, here's more from my conversation with Arnold Schwarzenegger. Is there some piece of advice that you wish you had when you were younger that might have saved you some pain or some heartache?
Every pain that I went through was good. Because only through hardship, you become strong.
Every pain.
Every pain.
So when
everything that you do, people have a problem that they pamper themselves too much. And they're so worried about, oh, I've hurty feelings. Oh, this would not be good for me. Oh, this is uncomfortable. It's all bogus. We got to go and face life the way it is. There will be hardship. There will be grief. There will be punishment. There will be pain. There will be where you fall down. And there will be victories. And then we just got to go and take those things because it makes it like steel.
One of your sons ratted you out about not having a smartphone. You don't have a smartphone?
I don't have a phone, but why would I have a phone? I have an iPad.
And that does everything?
Well,
don't you want to
FaceTime? I don't want to take a phone call and not see the people's face.
You don't like just talking on the phone?
No. I want to see them on the FaceTime.
So every single one of your calls is a FaceTime call?
I never do a phone call, except if there's some emergency call that comes through the house to the hotline. But then they take it. But I would say 99.9% of all my calls are FaceTime.
So when you look at the movie of your life, is there a scene that you'd want to reshoot, delete, do over?
Oh, yeah, the mistakes that I've made that I wish I haven't made. But
like?
We don't have enough time in this interview to talk about all my mistakes I made. But I can tell you one thing, that talking about hypothetical things is a waste. Because the reality is the way life is. So we can't go back and redo those things. What is important is that we learn from our mistakes and that we move forward and then take that under consideration, because I think we learn from our victories, but we also learn from our defeats and from our mistakes.
Up next, the spooktacular characters of the sitcom Ghosts.
This can't be real.
Welcome back. We've all heard that ghosts tend to stick around for a while. The paranormal kind, if you believe in that sort of thing, and the hit CBS TV series kind, too, as our Nancy Giles found out.
Babe, it's so charming. What could possibly be wrong with it?
It's the haunted highlight of the sitcom universe. A CBS Paramount Plus comedy set in a Victorian mansion in upstate New York.
Holy crap.
Inherited by a young couple who leave their city jobs to open a bed and breakfast.
Boy, she is really can-do.
I am rooting for these kids.
Only to discover they have company.
This place is gonna make an amazing hotel.
A motley crew of ghosts that only aspiring B&B owner Sam can see and hear due to a near-death experience in the first episode.
Oh my God!
What are you looking at?
Rose McIver plays Sam.
A lot of this show, when I first read it, I took to be about it's how we all accommodate each other. It's how a bunch of people who think and feel very differently with different life experiences can coexist.
And action.
Oh, thanks for hopping on, Dan. This whole situation's obviously really unsettling. No matter
Sam's
what,
husband Jay is played by Utkarsh Ambudkar.
Because I love you.
Aw, he's a keeper.
Hold that thought.
I gather that you guys have different styles of working. Rose, you seem sort of like type A, you know, sticking
Buttoned
to stuff.
up,
But I was
stiff.
All right, and Utkarsh, how would you describe Rose?
Detail-oriented.
Yeah.
Rose works best when she's prepared and when she's like fully 100% like ready to go, knows what's happening, can take care of yourself and everyone else. And I'm somewhere close to the opposite of it. I'm way looser.
What do you mean I'm inside of Jay's body? How? When? Oh, that's not mine.
The show is shot in Montreal, not LA. During COVID, the actors, like the ghosts, couldn't leave.
Imagine going to your office every single day, and then when you go home, the only people you hang out with are the people you work with.
Yeah. Oh my God, that's
It's
hilarious.
accentuated both the sense of claustrophobia and the sense of family, which are both very useful for the show.
Oh, look at that. I use my female brain to exercise my rights, and I don't feel the vapors coming on at all. Wait, hold on. No, I'm good.
Rebecca Wysocki's character, Hetty, is the lady of the house.
I would say that she is uptight and untethered.
Yeah, I died right there. I watched my flesh rot and my bones swallowed by the earth over hundreds of years. It's pretty cool.
Devin Chandler Long plays Thorfinn, a Viking who was left behind by his friends 1,000 years ago.
Kind of abandonment issues there. And then he was alone for 500 years before he met Sass.
Sass is short for Sasapis, a native Lenape, played by Roman Zaragoza.
He was a storyteller when he was alive, but he's also been dead for 500 years, so he's pretty jaded.
Look, I get it. Who wants to think they're seeing ghosts? It's scary. You know what's scarier? Eternity.
Asher Grodman plays Trevor, a hedge fund guy, who unfortunately died without his pants on.
Good God. Please. Lower your hands.
It was really freeing in a way.
The idea was if I bomb a joke, I'm like, well, they can cut to a wide shot. It'll be funny. Don't worry about it, because this is a joke.
What's it like to have to wear the same costume every episode?
It depends on what season it is. You know?
Yeah,
I'm serious. Summertime, it's a little rough for the crushed velvet.
But it's great for us.
Yeah.
We're the summer team right here. Summer team, Team Summer.
We're the outside kids.
And what happens to people once the ghost walks through them?
If you walk through Isaac, you're going to smell like...
It's going to smell like you've died of dysentery.
Right.
Not a good time.
Silent but deadly.
Yeah, SBD.
Got it. Another rule for ghosts.
We could have sex, but we can't poop.
Wait, what?
Those two things are interconnected.
And all the ghosts love to watch TV.
That's it? But they did not tell us whose baby it is.
It's called a cliffhanger, Thor. Thorfinn and Sasapis, they love reality TV.
Not fair. I wanted them to be together.
Hetty and I were more into the soap operas.
Of course. Danielle Pinnock's Alberta was a jazz singer during Prohibition.
Once I lived the life of a millionaire.
And that's you singing, right?
Yes, that is
you
me singing.
great.
Thank you so much.
I didn't care.
This was the biggest role that I've ever booked. This is my first series regular.
How does that feel?
It feels like an answered prayer.
All my fans let down by their one true God.
Even in despair, she retains a healthy ego.
There's a fear sometimes that happens for, I say, blackstresses, where it's like, are they going to understand me?
And see all the sides of you.
Exactly,
Yeah.
and not just make me stereotypical or make me the sassy black this or the sassy black that. And I really, really appreciate the time that the Joes just take to get to know us.
It is funny that they're having a little moment, though, too.
The Joes are Joe Wiseman and Joe Port, the writers and executive producers of Ghosts.
I think part of the charm of the show is being able to have all these different perspectives from history.
There's a hippie and a Viking.
Be gone!
Peace. And a guy dressed like Hamilton.
Hamilton? How do you know about Hamilton?
They adapted it from the British version.
that had such a fun premise and also just had a lot of heart. We wanted to, no pun intended, keep the spirit of the show.
I'm going to Ohio to see if my dead mom is a ghost.
Where we find out Sam's mom died. It made me cry. It was so touching.
Bye, Mom. Goodbye, honey.
Life and death is so much on the surface of all our stories. You can access emotions that
She's gone, Jay.
most sitcoms couldn't dream of.
This bed is hard because ghosts are technically weightless.
Wait, I have to see what
yeah,
this
you
feels
try.
like.
It's the most.
Oh, snap.
No, right? It's
What?
like very.
That's not easy.
I know.
Brandon Scott Jones plays Isaac, a Revolutionary War soldier who tries, unsuccessfully, to seduce Hetty.
Oh, what's happening?
Oh, stop your games. If you were to tell me this is a scene I was going to get to do on this show, I would have been overjoyed.
Oh, Isaac, my neighbor. Oh, Isaac. Are you still with me, Isaac?
And then comes out to her.
The person who caught my eye is Nigel.
Oh.
It was one of these really, really wild moments where I did get a chance to connect with that character. As a queer person myself, I had that same experience. I held on to that secret for 20-something years. He held on to the secret for 250 years. And I am so deeply sorry for deceiving you.
Hi, everybody!
When we were on set, cast and crew were told to gather.
Joe Wiseman has a special announcement.
Late last night, we got a call from the network and picked us up for season 3.
So stay tuned. These ghosts aren't going to disappear anytime soon.
I'm Tracy Smith. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you here next time on Here Comes the Sun.